Welcome back to the JumpifyLabs podcast, the show for founders who want growth without the guesswork. Here we talk about AI and the systems driving predictable growth. And today's guest has spent decades helping tech professionals overcome the mental suffering that most people don't talk about. From anxiety to depression to the loss of creativity and focus, he's dedicated his life to teaching meditation in a way that actually works, not the watered down version that the Valley's used to. Dada Nabhaniilananda, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
The pleasure's all mine. All right, so let's kick things off. You've spent decades as a monk and also 15 years in Silicon Valley. What led you into working specifically with tech professionals?
Well, it took me by surprise. I've been a monk for more than 45 years now, and I've taught in all kind of different people in different places, different parts of the world. But it was after I came to Silicon Valley that I saw that there was a problem, that a lot of tech workers, particularly people in management or executive positions, suffer a tremendous amount of stress, or especially startup founders. And stress is something that meditation is known to help with. But I saw it being taught and used because it's an unregulated field, the teaching of meditation. The quality is not always there. So I thought I could help because I have this has been my whole life. And so I actually sort of what broke me into it was a kind of an accident, if there is such a thing. A friend of mine took me to a kind of rock concert by an amazing artist from Mali in Africa, Salif Keita. And in the break, a couple of guys came up to us, and one was Indian, the other was a white guy. And the Indian guy asked me, he said, "Are you some kind of monk?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm from the Path of Bliss, Ananda Marga." And he said, "Well, what's a monk doing at a rock concert?" I said, "Well, I like rock music." Turns out he's an executive at Google. And that was what opened the door for me. And I hadn't thought about it before. I mean, I'd thought about it, but I wasn't that into it. But that was what made it the ball began rolling.
Yeah. What an interesting story. And just because you're a monk doesn't mean you can't like rock music, right? I mean,
I don't want to pretend to be somebody else. I love rock music.
absolutely. Dada, what's the biggest misunderstanding people have about meditation? People that are coming from the tech world. What's a misconception or misunderstanding they have?
So I would say it's a lot of people think that meditation is all about trying to stop thinking. And that's kind of almost impossible. And it's more about feeling than about thinking. And in our practice, we use as a segue from, doing ordinary stuff into meditation, we use music. And music is like this language of emotion, and it can transform the way you feel almost immediately and lead into a much more meditative state very quickly. So I think that sort of ignoring the feeling side is a mistake.
And how does combining meditation with music and mantra, how does it differ from just the mainstream approach?
Well, mainstream can be many things. I mean, but yeah, the most popular kind of meditation in America, at least, is probably some sort of mindfulness where you focus on the breath, or they do what's called a body scan. You sort of pay attention to parts of your body, and this certainly has benefits. But it's not all there is to it. It's just a small piece of a much wider tradition, which embraces, music, chanting of mantras, which is easier than focusing in meditation. That's one of the main reasons I use it. It's much easier to feel something, to feel at peace, to feel more calm when you're using the mantra chanting leading into meditation than if you try and just jump straight into it. It makes it a lot easier, especially for people with busy minds, which is exactly the people we're talking about, right? They're all over educated, more educated than me, a lot of brilliant people, but they can't stop thinking. But the way to stop thinking isn't by trying to stop thinking. You use techniques like mantra and chanting and focusing on a feeling of love and connection and that kind of thing. That really makes a big difference.
And Dada, you once shared with me that someone at Facebook cried after experiencing your workshop. What happened there that showed you the real need for your type of?
Yeah, that was quite touching. When it was still called Facebook, I gave a talk there, and of course it's Meta now. And there was a pretty big group, and we did a short chanting and meditation session, and they seemed to really get into it. And this woman came to me afterwards, and she was very emotional, and she said, "Look, I've been trying to meditate, just watching my breath for 2 years, every day, and it was like herding cats. And this was the first time I felt anything." And I was almost crying at this point. It was like, wow, she's so sincere. She's really trying. She's really making an effort. And she needs help to help herself to bring her mind under control. And she discovered this, and it seemed to really work for her. If this is the first time you felt anything after 2 years, wow, you're persevering.
Yeah, and Dada, you're also able to get tech executives to chant Sanskrit mantras. How do you make that safe, accessible? How do you make it impactful for them?
Yeah, that was something I took me a while to figure out. And because I'm wearing orange robes, I go along here, it's strange, right? But that's part of my tradition, and it actually speaks to my expertise. So one of the things I never compromised on was, I could wear a suit and go and look like everybody else and go and teach meditation, but I never did that because I felt that would be fake, me pretending to be somebody I'm not. So by continuing to do that, yeah, it puts up some barriers. But to drop that barrier, one of them is my brand. It's the monk dude. It's kind of a joke. And then people understand. I've had people literally tell me, okay, I realize this guy doesn't take himself too seriously, and that makes it easier. And I use a lot of humor in my, training programs. And in my website, there's a crazy cartoon of a rock that wants to, can't remember the rock story. And so on the one hand, I want to be authentic and remain authentic. And on the other hand, I want to get past that sort of barrier that me being different puts up. And I find that, yeah, humor, just being very human, being able to relate to people easily, be interested in what they're interested in, all of that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and you told me before that being a monk dressed in orange helps you get away with things.
You asked, how do I get executives to sing mantra? Well, they don't have to, but in the group, some of them do. And I already got away with getting into this company wearing this strange garb. So then the chanting thing is not such a big step from there. They expect something weird from me.
All right. Well, let's talk about business a little bit. You mentioned that one of your biggest challenges early on was finding the right partners. What made that difficult and what did you learn from that journey?
Yeah, I had some difficult experiences. I think part of the reason is I'm from New Zealand, and we tend to be a bit naive and think that everybody is exactly who they say they are or who they appear to be. So I think being a bit more cautious and learning to be more cautious helped me a lot. Getting other people, getting the opinion of people I trust, not just trusting my opinion as the first read. I tend to think, I think everybody's nice and everybody wants to be kind to one another, and it's not always like that. And then finding people who really do know what they're talking about and be very open to learning. Now, I'm not going to become an expert in business or marketing or whatever, but I need to know enough about it to be able to find the right partners and identify the right partners. And if I'd known that, I wouldn't have worked with those couple of people I worked with earlier on. That it wasn't very fruitful for either of us. So I think being open to learning, spending time learning, and taking other people's advice before choosing the people to work with is really important.
And then what kind of breakthroughs did you see once you found partners who were aligned?
So one of the people I'm working with now, he's great. He's got a lot of real expertise in marketing. He actually taught marketing and sales at UC Berkeley, so he knows what he's talking about. And yeah, I just listened to him. I just sat there and absorbed everything, and that led to a breakthrough because he helped me with this incredible designer I work with now, who's another member of our team. She's amazing. Just talking to her this morning, and the three of us reinvented my brand. And that was a real breakthrough because our messaging was very clear. The problem we solved was really clear. Why we are different, our differentiators were really clear. And then things began to flow. Started getting inbound inquiries and so forth. So creating or building your brand with people who really have a good understanding of that, both from the strategic point of view and the sort of communication point of view, but also from the visual point of view, makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also you mentioned that your team is building a digital twin.
It's going on right now. It's called Space Monk. I'm pretty allergic to things like AI music. I know some people, it can sound really cool, but I just don't believe it can have any heart. I don't want to create a digital twin of me that people might think is me because it doesn't have a heart. I do. So it's not visually, it's a cartoon. It's a Space Monk character that my artist created. But it's learning what I know. I mean, we're feeding it all my books and my articles and my podcasts and my videos and all my material. And so that it can represent me when I'm not there to answer questions and guide people through my app and through the website and assist them and make it easier and do things that I can't do because I might be asleep.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about your app. Why don't you share a little bit about what the context is behind
I'm
it?
kind of proud of that. More really, I should be on behalf of our app developer. He did an amazing job of taking my content because I that's all I could do. I created all the content, most of it, and he built this beautiful app around it. He's a professional app developer. The whole thing as a service. He's one of my dear friends and a great student of mine, and he built this entire really slick app. So it does four things. And if you come to the homepage, yeah, it has these guided meditations, but you can create your own playlist. So you hear a little guided meditation, and then there's you can choose from the music and the chanting, different tunes, really good music, and then you can choose how long you're going to meditate silently, and then a little bell or something at the end, and you can customize that. So you can have, here's my 15-minute meditation for the morning, and here's just my 5-minute meditation during my lunch break, and here's my 30-minute meditation in the evening when I'm more relaxed, and you can just create as many as you want. So that's one major feature. The other is there's a whole section on yoga postures with a whole lot of really good yoga asanas on video and developed by a super expert friend of mine, one of the best yoga health experts in the country, as far as I know. And then there's a whole section of music and all these different chants and stuff like that. So that's all in there. It's called the Bliss Timer. If you go to blisstimer.com, then you'll find the Android and iOS versions.
Wow, congratulations for getting approved to the Apple Store. That's a big feat in itself. I know it's not super easy compared to the Play Store on Google.
Well, actually, we had the opposite experience.
Really? Good on you.
My developer did a lot of work getting all those approvals, and you have to keep renewing them also.
Yeah, no, it is something that I've heard from people that I know in the space. Okay, so what's next for you in 2026? The new year's around the corner. I'm sure you've set some targets for yourselves. What are you working towards?
We're looking for investors. We've got a product now that we're really happy with. We've got clients. We've got some very prestigious clients, including Google and Apple and so forth. But we need to build our business and we need capital to grow it. We want to develop the website a lot more. We want to take the app and really market it and market it to companies. So our target is enterprise licensing for the app. That's our sort of big next business move. But we need to do a little more work because we have a really good functioning app, but we need to bring in customer service and all the stuff like that. Otherwise, you can't offer it to a company.
Yeah, definitely need a little bit of capital to make this thing really robust. But it sounds like what you have as well is pretty good. It sounds like you have some really cool features in there to deliver a lot of good benefits. Okay, so you did also mention that you share content regularly. Where can people get a taste of it?
Best places on my website, themonkdude.com. You'll find there's a lot of content there. So there's corporate content, and there's my whole personal thing. I call it Monkotopia. It's my sort of playground where there's all my music and crazy comedy stuff and meditation articles and reviews and music and all kinds of stuff here. So, and then on the other side is the corporate program. So if you want something for your company or your university, there's more sort of set programs, and then there's an events section. So if you're local, we have coming events there. Is Northern California.
Okay, so if somebody wants to explore working with you or bringing you into their company, what's the best step for them?
Take a look at my website, and there's an inquiries button. You can write me a note and tell me what your problems are, and we can have a talk and see how I might be able to help you.
All right, Dada, thank you so much for sharing. I love the meditation piece. I love how you branded yourself as the monk dude. I love the story about rock and roll. I just dig your overall vibe. I'm already relaxed just from feeling your energy. And energy is contagious. I'm a big believer in that. If everybody wants to hear more from Dada, he's very politely shared his website. He's also on LinkedIn. If you like more stories like this from other leaders that are pushing the envelope in business and sharing their expertise with the world, be sure to tune in to Jumpify Labs for more. My name is Jay. Thanks so much. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks
Take
so
care.
much.